Well, hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. I'm Randy Rosenblum, your host, along with Tarek Fatal from SB Live. Jam-packed show today. Carson baseball, Palisades tennis will be on the front page for us. We'll talk to gentlemen from both those fine athletic programs in a little bit. But Tarek, we got to go over baseball to begin, starting with Corona, the number one ranked team in the Southern section. They got by Mater Dei in their latest playoff affair, 3-1. Big hit from Anthony Murphy. He hit the homer. Also had an RBI single for the Panthers. Let's also talk about Bonita knocking out Jay Serra in a huge way, 15-2. Then Bonita ran into Harvard Westlake, and the Wolverines knocked them out 3-2. That's not a surprise.
Other than the Jay Serra score, what indicates parity better than the number one seed in Corona needing a walk-off home run in round one and heroics in extra innings in round two? Doesn't matter. That's the epitome of high-level playoff baseball, pretty much any level of playoff baseball, to be honest. You just never know. It's a roll of the dice, but the number one team in the land's still alive.
Orange Lutheran with a strong outing in the playoffs, scoring a lot of runs. Olu 17, Vista Murrieta just 6. I also want to talk about San Dimas. They've won 2 one-run games in the playoffs. Rocco Reagan got the big hit, 7-6 over Cypress. Great celebration when he got the hit to win the game.
San Dimas, the one for me is Landon White. He's kind of been the under-the-radar, yet stand out. You know, is he a player of the year type kid? Yeah, you know, it's really interesting to see how far San Dimas will go. Orange Lutheran, to me, after Corona and Harvard Westlake, they're the most dangerous team. They won the Trinity League, which was the most competitive league in all of baseball.
Now in Division II, Hart's still going. We love Jim Ozella, veteran coach, 25th and final year, and he's still alive, winning 2 close playoff games.
Yeah, Jim Ozella gets to keep coaching one more game. That's how I see it. Again, 25 years at the helm of the Hart program, and I just feel like every game he thinks this could be the last one, but he's not quite there yet.
Let's turn our attention to city baseball. They're not in the playoffs yet. Boy, they have a long season in the city. In the Eastern League, our producer's thrilled. Larry Zavala, our producers from Bell. Bell wins the league. They had a great race there, a few good teams. We had Garfield's guys on a few weeks ago, but Bell wins the title.
Yeah, I think when you talk about city section baseball, I think there's an aspect of it that's unfortunate. It's always West Valley League, Marine League, but there's always teams that are just as competitive in their own ilk of the land, and we'll see how that all adds up here as we get to the end of the regular season.
You mentioned the West Valley, Birmingham and Granada Hills in a huge 2-game series to decide the West Valley League. Now, Granada won the first game 2-0, so they put themselves in a position in a 1-game season to win the league. Birmingham has won 5 city titles in recent years, but they never win the league, and Granada got them again today, 4-2.
Matt Morey, I'm telling you, I guarantee you he's happy about this because they have never won a league title the same year they won at Dodger Stadium. So for him, on the inside, he's thinking, I'm going to be superstitious, and I know that when I don't win a league title, that means I'm on pace to win a city title. We'll see. Granada's been the number one seed in the Open Division, I think, 2 straight years. This could be their 3rd straight year, and they've not even gotten to Dodger Stadium. So just more parity in baseball.
Yeah, they've won the league 4 years in a row, and they haven't gotten to Dodger Stadium. They've been the team supposedly to win the overall crown, but they haven't gotten it done. Birmingham has been the staple of excellence. Birmingham knocked off Carson in the finals last year, 3-1. We have some mad Carson Colts. Most of all of them are coming back, but their head coach is brand new, Michael Kunipo Aguirre. Used to be a fine player there. Now he's a youthful coach, driving the team. It got him going. He's brought his pitcher with him, who's a very good guy and great hitter as well, in Aiden Brasher. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
It's going great. Congratulations on winning the Marine League title. All right, Michael, you took the team over. You're in your first year. You obviously had talent on campus. Have you exceeded expectations when you came in there, or is it about what you expected, knowing that you had so many veterans from the runner-up city team a year ago?
I was on staff last year, so our expectation going into the year was exactly the same. We knew who we were coming back with. We knew our guys, and we just wanted to make sure to win our league and run our table before we get into the playoffs.
Aiden, how much do you hate? I think that's the right word here. hearing about the West Valley League? I'm just going to leave you with that for now. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I mean, I don't think I think much about it. I try to worry about me and my team and, take care of business. I play every game like it's my last, and I'm going into the next few games like they are my last, and I'm going to leave it on the field.
Kudos to you, a pro answer right there. Love that. So talking more about Carson baseball, what's been so different so far this year compared to last year's team, which was also very good? What's different about this year's squad?
I think it's the energy and the love, and I think Coach Mikey put an amazing staff together, and everyone gels together. And Carson is just such a cohesive family, and I don't know, the product that we put on the field, it shows.
Tarek talked about it. Most people think Granada Hills now is going to be the number 1 seed because they win the West Valley and Birmingham will be number 2. Michael, give me your argument for you being the number 1 seed. Why shouldn't the Colts be number 1?
I'm not sure if they updated the league. I thought Granada won today's game.
They did. Granada won.
I think they won the entire league, correct?
Correct.
So if I had one argument, it would be that we won our league in first, and I think they tied. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. But do you think you should be number 1?
To us, it doesn't really matter. I mean, would I love to be a 1 seed? Of course. But as long as we're in the top 4 and we get a first-round bye, that's one of our main concerns. And it also gives my seniors another chance to play at home.
Aiden, I look at Michael and he looks young enough to still be playing. Is it cool to have a coach, a manager, who kind of relates to you?
Definitely, he makes us feel right at home, but he'll also get down the line and start barking just the same. And I don't know, it's a good balance, and he keeps us in line.
Michael, my question for you is really more so about the gelling of the team. And a lot of coaches don't like to use negative things to motivate, like, hey, you lost last year, let's get back at them this year. Do you agree with that sentiment, or do you actually dive into that? Hey, we got unfinished business to take care of. Let's harness that. So give me your take on that a little bit.
During the summer and kind of going into, we gave the boys a little time to digest the loss and kind of, go over it in their brain. But we did have a little sense of unfinished business. We kind of felt like a Cinderella team last year, and we wanted to roll with that as far as we could take it. And we just felt like we didn't have our best game at Dodger Stadium. So we definitely have some unfinished business that we want to get back to.
In the summer, I'm taking a long vacation. I'll be gone for a couple weeks. You guys got to feel like you're going on a long vacation because you're not going to play for a while. Your season's over. The Marine League finished a few days ago. You're not playing until next week. You don't know who you're going to play. The seedings come out this weekend. How do you get through? And this is for both of you. We'll start with the coach. How do you get through this long, dry period where you don't have competition?
For me, honestly, I've got a great staff, and they've been so creative in trying to find ways to get us as close to game-like as possible. I'm going to give them a shout-out. Joshua Cole, Damian Lopez, Salvador Ramos, Matthew Salas, Danny Salas, Miguel Martinez, and Trevor Edior, man. They bring the energy every day, and we find a way to get as close to game-like as possible. But I trust my boys. They bring the intensity just the same, and they get after it, and they know we got unfinished business. Their head's in the right spot, so I got all faith in them that they'll show up when it matters.
Aiden, do you still think about maybe finishing up your career at Dodger Stadium after knowing you got to the Ravine a year ago?
Definitely, that's the goal. I plan to be back there. I plan to be on that mound, and I plan to come out of that game with that trophy in my hand.
Okay, you come out with the trophy, and you also pick up some dirt as a souvenir. That's what the kids usually do after the championships. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Congratulations, Michael, first year in the Marine League to win the championship. I know you had talent, but you don't always win with talent. You got to get them to play together, and you're able to do that, and you dominated the Marine League. San Pedro is always very, very good. Some very good baseball in the Marine League. They're the one challenging league, it seems, to the West Valley every year. I know you guys will play well in the playoffs. Get some good workouts in the next week or so, and best of luck in the playoffs.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having us.
You got it.
Thank you guys very much.
All right. It's that league, the Marine League, is really good in baseball. I mean, they seem to be the only league that knocks off the West Valley every so often. And I don't think they get enough credit. They're a very talented league, and Carson's very good.
Yeah, I do think there's always an element that what gives the advantage, I think, for these West Valley League teams is generally it's El Camino Real. It was Chatsworth a couple of years ago. They had a Cinderella year. Birmingham seems to be in the mix so when it gets to that big moment, they're somewhat used to it. And I think Coach Michael said it right there. They didn't have their best game at Dodger Stadium last year. So if they make it back, that off factor is not going to be there anymore, especially with so many returners. I like the advantage there for the Colts, and I think they have a really good chance of making it back.
All right, let's talk about some key games that are coming up in the CIF Southern section. These are quarterfinal games. We have Corona at Aquinas. I'm going to go through these, and I want to get your thoughts when we go through this. Santa Margarita at Huntington Beach. Orange Lutheran versus La Mirada. That'll be on a neutral site at Glenn High School. And San Dimas at Harvard Westlake, which seems to be a real interesting game. Which one sticks out to you?
Yeah, the Harvard Westlake one sticks out to me because, listen, that's a very well-coached team. Jared Halpert, they're dialed in, really enjoy going and covering Harvard Westlake baseball. But I want to say, hey, you had an opportunity to throw Duncan Marston, and you didn't, because you saved them for this game. So that, to me, is an advantage now paid off. So I don't see Harvard Westlake losing on Friday when they're going to throw Duncan Marston. That stands out to me. Orange Lutheran, I think, is going to be fine. The Santa Margarita Huntington Beach game, that's a coin flip, they might say. And then the last one, Corona Aquinas. Corona, of the 3 games they're going to play, I think Aquinas might be the opponent that is the least threatening. So I find that quarterfinal game won't be as close.
Well, Corona's just been getting by, so you
Correct.
would think they'd break out. Hey, it's the playoffs. It's one and done.
That's true.
Speaking of playoffs, in tennis in the city section, the playoffs have been dominated by the Palisades Dolphins. And Bud Kling has coached the boys' team since 1979, the girls' team since the mid-'80s. He's won 31 city titles on the boys' side, 21 on the girls. You can add it up, 52. That's just an amazing accomplishment, and he's still going.
I'm going to reserve my comments for when we get Bud on because I have a great first question for him.
All right, I'll let you ask Bud that great first question. Go for it.
52 city championships?
Yeah, 31 for the boys, 21 for the girls.
Bud, do you have every single one of those championships still at your house?
The trophies?
Yes.
No.
Okay, I was going to ask, where would you put them? That's what I wanted to know.
No, I have too much Olympic memorabilia from the game, so no. They stay down there.
Bud, you've won 15 straight boys championship. It never gets old, does it? And how have you been able to sustain that kind of excellence, both on the boys' side and the girls' side?
You never get tired of winning, especially when the kids work so hard. And they always talk about maintaining the streak. And we've had some really close calls during this streak. Well, this year we graduated 6 starters, and we had to bring up JVs and varsity clubs, and they worked real hard, and we won again.
But how do you, being a coach for so long, at what points in your career do you remember, or maybe the better question is, how do you as a coach that's been around so long, how do you reinvent yourself? How do you keep things fresh for yourself and your players?
Well, I watch professional tennis, and I go to the college tennis matches, UCLA, SC, Pepperdine, and you learn a lot because that's the next level from where we are. The kids that really succeed in high school will go on and play college. So I watch their drills, their warm-ups, everything they're doing. And I have some friends who are college coaches, and I talk to them all the time.
You know, it's easy to say, hey, Bud Kling's just got great talent every year. It's a country club sport, and he's going to win against the rest of the city. But it's not always easy to coach the best talent. How have you been able to harness that talent over the years and make them win championships?
Well, there are some years where we walk to the door and all we have to do is bat them away. I mean, I will admit that. Not as often as most people think. Like this year's team, we have to really manufacture a whole new lineup. So, I mean, my first two teams were national champions. And so I didn't have to do too much with them. It's just out of their way. But then the schools, the more private schools are now, many more private schools than I started in the 70s. So, and they take a lot of kids.
But I've been covering high school sports for about a decade, not that long. But I'm confident in, for example, basketball. When I look out there, I can evaluate talent. Wow, this guy jumps out the gym. Man, that guy's mechanics are really pure. When you look at a tennis player at the high school level, what are things immediately that jump out and you go, okay, wait a minute, we might have a special player here? What are those attributes?
Well, first of all, footwork. Most sports, footwork is everything. So if you see they have natural gifted footwork, they're lining up on the ball correctly, the biomechanics of the stroke is correct. You can tell by their attitude. Some kids, they had 5 great shots, they miss one and they're bouncing their racket. Other kids learn to deal with it and move on. And so there's psychological and physiological things that we look at.
1979 is when you started. That's a long time ago. The obvious question to me, what's the biggest change in your sport from 79 to 2024?
Well, one of them is that the number of teams playing top quality tennis in the city is not as many as it was then, because you go back and count the number of private schools that were existing in the late 70s, it wasn't nearly as many as now. So every league match, we were going against 2 or 3 Division I players, future players. Now, maybe beside our team, maybe 1 or 2 in our league.
Last question. They say girls mature quicker than boys. So is it easier to coach the young ladies, or is it all the same between the boys and the girls in tennis?
I knew I was thinking it quite like that. They're different. One's not easier than the other, and it depends. We have some girls that their characteristics sometimes they are the boys' team and vice versa. No, they're completely different, and I enjoy that. It's fun doing the exact same thing over and over and over.
Well, Bud, congratulations. I know you're like the winningest coach percentage-wise in the history of high school tennis nationally. You've won more titles than anyone, an unimaginable 52. You're not going to quit anytime too soon, so we wish you continued success. You're already in the LA City Section Hall of Fame. You don't have a lot left to accomplish, but I'm sure you'll still win city championships. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, the great Bud Kling. What a career,
It's a staggering number. It's almost unrealistic. It's almost, if you were to read that in a headline, you'd think maybe it was like a typo or something, like the 2 got added on and he really only won 5. But
right.
No, 52 it is.
52 city titles as the head coach. And I know it's the girls and the boys, but those are remarkable numbers. All right, let's turn our attention to softball. We're going to cover both the southern section and the LA City section here. First score we want to show is Great Oak over Norco. This surprised me. Norco was one of the favorites. They get bounced early. Now, Great Oak had to play again today and lost. They were beaten by Jay Serra earlier today, 2-0. The next score we want to show you is Oaks Christian knocking off Los Alamitos 5-1.
That's a big score, too.
Okay, Oaks Christian got dominated today by the team we expect to be right there, Pacific of Garden Grove, 13-2. You like Oaks Christian, but they just ran into a buzzsaw today.
That's what it is. Pacifica Garden Grove is the team to beat. I think that's just the truth. Orange Lutheran has a team in itself, of course. I think they're headed for a clash. I know off air we talked about Marietta Mesa, which I'm sure you're going to bring up here soon in a second, so sorry if I crashed your party there. But the one thing I did want to say, when you think about like college football, right, you think about Alabama, right? Alabama isn't the juggernaut it used to be. And I think sometimes you get that with like a Norco. You think automatically they're primed to be a Division I contender, and they might have been in the mix, but this year it's not Norco's year. It's the Pacifica Garden Groves and the Orange Lutherans of the world.
Well, Old Lou in their first round, and we're going to show this score. High-scoring game. This is kind of scary. They gave up 7 runs to Capo Valley. They win it 11-7. Weiss is 17-1. I think she won again today. I'm assuming she was the pitcher. She goes every game. A low total for her, 10 Ks in that one. They came back and beat a very good Canyon team of Anaheim today, 7-4. And the last game that was played today was that Murrieta Mesa team over Huntington Beach, 12-0. The Rams of Mesa, 22-0. There's the Huntington Beach score of today. We did get that in there. So they've scored 22 runs in the playoffs, have not allowed any. Lily Hauser, their pitcher, is 19-0. She might be 20-0. I don't know if it was updated. Here's Olu's win today over Capo Valley that we talked about. Mesa plays Orange Lutheran. Jay Serra gets a shot at Pacifica.
It's going to be a battle, and I think softball is the best in the nation here in Southern California. Tony Arduino believes that. He's the coach at Pacifica, so I believe him.
All right, let's move ahead to city section. I do think Pacifica is the favorite, but I'm interested with this Murrieta Mesa team because they're playing great softball. In the city section, let's go over some of these quarterfinal games. Let's look at all four of them, in fact. Granada Hills over Venice. It was a wipeout. It was 5 innings, 11-0. The Highlanders are the favored team. Mormon got the win in the circle. El Camino, this is a surprise. Not that they beat San Pedro, it's the way they handled them. 7-1. El Camino, historically one of the great programs in the city. So is San Pedro. In fact, those are the two winningest teams in terms of titles in the history of the section. Carson, who is very dangerous, and the defending champion, Blitz Chavez, and Birmingham, who's the number 2 seed in this tournament to Granada Hills, struggled a little bit here, outscoring Banning 11-8.
Jim Rose, I mean, listen, I'm rooting for the story. I would love to see Jim Rose win a third city section title in one season. Football, flag football, and softball. I think he's actually got a chance. I think he's got a chance. And Jessica Rose, his daughter, is a senior captain on the team. I mean, there could be a little magic there. Why not?
I still think we're underselling Carson, who won the title last year. Nobody talks about him. Again, we got this West Valley fever going on, and it's understanded. You can understand
Go ahead,
it.
say it. Go ahead. Say it. Say it.
What?
Say the San Fernando Valley bias. Say it.
It's not biased. They've won more championships than anyone. But San Pedro's out, and that's been the other team that's really done well.
That's true.
All right, let's talk about volleyball. Speaking of teams that do well, Loyola over Newport Harbor, 3-1 in the semifinals. They move on to the championship. They were the favorite. They are the top seed. They'll play Miracosta, who knocked off CDM in 3 out of 4 sets. They have played earlier this year, and Loyola beat them in this great rivalry match in 4 the first time. Never easy to beat the same team twice, especially when they're bitter rivals. But that is perhaps the greatest high school rivalry in Southern California.
It very well could be drummed up as the high school boys volleyball national championship game. I mean, that's just the truth. And if both teams continue to play, they could play again in the regional final. So they could end up playing what I would believe would be a third time this year if the final and the regional final.
Time to check out city section volleyball. A lot of stuff tonight. Can't believe this. Eagle Rock in the semis. They're the number 2 seed over ECR. Not easy, as you can see, in 5 sets. They'll meet Chatsworth in the championship. By the way, this Chatsworth-Pally match, that was a rematch of last year's city final. This time Chatsworth got them in 4 in the semis. So that sets up Chatsworth and Eagle Rock. They met earlier this year. Chatsworth beat Eagle Rock. They hosted Eagle Rock. This time they'll get them at CSUN, but they beat them in 4 the first time.
Yeah, and I think, listen, the thing that sticks out to me with these championships is that they're at CSUN the last couple of years. And I think that when you get to a championship venue and it being a college or elevated atmosphere, it makes it that much more special. So I know Chatsworth is the defending champion, correct? Won it last year. Blake Pohavits, was that the MVP? Why not Chatsworth again this year?
They don't have Pohavits this year. That's one of the reasons I'm sure Eagle Rock thinks they have a chance. Eagle Rock's a very, very good team. I really like the player, the middle blocker, Justin Dixon of Chatsworth, and their setter is the senior Nate Kim. He is very, very good. All right, speaking of very, very good, there's another Valley guy from Harvard-Westlake, basketball player Trent Perry, was committed to USC. He's led the Wolverines of Harvard-Westlake to 2 state championships at the highest level. Committed this week. He got out of the commitment to USC when they had coaching changes, and Perry is going to UCLA.
Yeah, this was Wednesday, late afternoon. He announced that he's going to play for Mick Cronin and the Bruins. Listen, he was in Cardinal and Gold. I think he actually committed in October, I think it was, during the football season. Even signed in January or February. Obviously, Andy Newman. Andy Enfield takes the SMU job, reopens his recruitment, and ends up playing for Cronin.
Did you say Andy Newman?
Never heard of him.
He's the coach at CSUN. He beat UCLA, so that's a good lead-in. That's a good segue. Andy Newman's getting a lot of local talent. Look out for CSUN.
Cal State Northridge hasn't had a winning season since 2009. They haven't won a Big West Conference game in 10 years. Newman comes in year one. They go 19-15. They have a winning season. They actually win a Big West Conference game. Clearly, they're moving forward. They have a bunch of local talent on the roster, and this transfer portal opportunity, they cash in. P.J. Fuller played at TCU in Washington. Big-time player, was a 4-star recruit in high school. And the big one is Marcus Adams Jr., who was a standout at Narbonne. 1 year at BYU, had some injury issues, but now he's back with the Matadors. So they're going to have 2 4-star bona fide recruits. I mean, Cal State Northridge, Randy, could be in the mix for the Big West Championship next year.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Historically, UC Irvine and UC Santa Barbara are very good in the Big West. But I would not be shocked if the Matadors break through. This coach, Andy Newman, is doing a terrific job. Track and field, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Let's see, what do we got here? We got coming up the qualifying in the city section tomorrow. I like Deshaun Banks, the high jumper at Birmingham. He's close to a 7-footer.
Yeah, he's a basketball player, and yeah, leaping 7 foot. Let's just be clear. You know, he's not 7 feet tall, but just
I'm talking track.
I gotcha. No, I mean, he's kind of one of the better stories this year, where I believe he just came out of nowhere and started doing high jump, and now he's going for a city championship. So what a story it would be.
And Jordan Coleman's a great sprinter from Granada Hills. He's going to be favored in the sprints in the city section. We're getting down to the CIF Southern Section Finals. I think they're Saturday at Moore Park. I love Sadie Engelhardt of Ventura. She's the defending champion, and she's only a junior in the 800 and the 1600.
Yeah, this is one of the best runners in the country. She's setting records left, right, and center. Every time she runs, she's doing something special, so I expect nothing less.
She's already committed to North Carolina State, which is probably the best women's track and field program in the country right now. Spring football, is playing right now in the city section. They're getting ready for next season. Birmingham is a team that's won the championship 4 times in a row in the Open Division. They've won 42 straight football games in city section play. That's ties for the all-time total with Wilson. Is this the year the rain ends? A lot of transition at Birmingham.
Yeah, they were going to. Kingston Tisdale, the quarterback, transferred. The big-time running back, Ronald Hewitt, transferred. So, yeah, some of the big-time players that they expected to return are no longer there. But until they are dethroned, I expect Birmingham to stay the course. The gap has been so big. I don't know if a couple players getting lost closes it close enough. But there's a writer in Los Angeles that thinks it's going to end.
Okay, that's Eric Sotheimer, and he could be the guy I'm going to talk about right now.
That's fine.
I saw Tom Brady's roast. I thought it was phenomenal. That's my kind of sense of humor. Maybe it's a little raunchy for most, but I thought it was great. So I was thinking, who would we want to roast in high school sports? Eric's name came to my mind. He's been around 1,000 years. Steve Fryer is another writer from Orange County. He's been around for a long time. Tarek Fatal is a possibility. Bruce Rawlinson, who's retired from Modern Day.
Great.
Harvey Katani, Ed Azam, and Borta Scoto.
Yeah, all those guys would be good. And if I had to pick one, Bort would be very fun to roast.
Borta Scoto is the guy we would roast. I would pick on, I don't know who. I wouldn't want to pick on Eric.
Yeah, you're a nice guy.
I'm a nice guy. They're telling us to wrap it up already? It's early on my clock. I guess we got to go, Tarek.
Yeah, you know what they say, you win some, you lose some.
Well, we lose a lot of them here. For Tarek Fatal, good guy from SB Live, I'm Randy. We'll see you next time right here on SoCal Prep Report. Next Thursday, live at 9 o'clock. See you then, everybody.
We're a couple weeks from Dodger Stadium, and then we're going to get an annual picture of the food you eat at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, the hot dogs. I eat the hot dogs.
No bun with lettuce. That's your thing.
I eat 10 of them,
One hot dog with a head of lettuce.
It's good stuff.
And you put ketchup
Healthy.
on it?